Hello, my name is Jennifer Marshall, and I'm doing my informative speech on Martin Luther King Jr. I found out that I didn't know as much as I thought I did about him, and after doing a lot of research, I found out he was a very great speaker and very good public speaker, actually amazing. So I learned a lot from doing the speech. To begin with, Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. He was raised by his grandfather and father, who were both Baptist preachers and were also involved in the civil rights movement. King attended Morehouse College in 1948 with medicine and law degrees. Needless to say, King did not choose to go down either of those paths. He actually decided to choose the road of ministry, as his relatives did. He went to Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania. Then he met Coretta Scott, who he settled down with, and started a family after marrying her. And they settled down in Montgomery, Alabama. At the age of 25, King became the pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. This was only the beginning of a great impact he had on our world. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great orator and an activist, but it was also important that we all know what led up to all of this. Rosa Parks started the beginning of a movement on December 1st, 1955. She was an African-American woman who refused to give up her seat to a white man on a bus. King and his friends helped organize protests against the bus segregation after Rosa Parks was arrested that day that she did not give up her seat. This was known as the Montgomery Bus Boycott. For the duration of 13 months, 17,000 people from Montgomery walked to work or picked up rides. Finally, the Supreme Court forced the Montgomery Bus Company to accept integration, and the boycott ended on December 20th, 1956. Martin Luther King Jr. joined the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in 1957, also known as the SCLC, with Reverend Ralph David Abernathy. The SCLC was an organization committed to using nonviolence in struggle for the civil rights. The motto they had was called, "Not one hair of one head of one person should be harmed." The importance of the SCLC was now that the black church was to become fully involved in the struggle for civil rights. King traveled the country making speeches and inspiring people to become involved in the civil rights movement. He helped advocate nonviolent student sit-ins. The campaign to end the segregation of lunch counters in Birmingham, Alabama was less successful, though. Police turned dogs and fire hoses on the demonstrators and then arrested them. Martin Luther King Jr. made major achievements and successes during his lifetime. The March of Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963, was one of his very big successes. King made the "I Have a Dream" speech that day, one that we're all very familiar with. The 1964 Civil Rights Act bill was passed with great encouragement from King and Lyndon B. Johnson passing the bill. The bill made racial discrimination in public areas illegal and made employment opportunities equal to all men. The 1965 Voting Rights Act bill was passed with the great help of King as well. This gave everyone the equal opportunity to vote. The Poor People's Campaign was started by King, and it helped those who were suffering from poverty. King made his last speech at Mason Temple in Memphis. It was called "I've Been to a Mountaintop," and it was made on April 3, 1968. King spoke of seeing of the glory of the coming of the Lord and that all he wanted to do was do God's will. In some sort of way, I think, King knew that his days were numbered with the controversy that was going on. Unfortunately, Martin Luther King was shot and killed on April 4th, 1968, on his balcony at the Lorraine Motel the day after. James E. Ray pleaded guilty to the murder of King. The death of Martin Luther King had a great impact on the world and still does. Following his death, 125 cities began rioting and 46 people were killed. Although King's death was sudden, he did make a big impression on the world and then and now present day that we live in. He has helped encourage people to stand up together as one and be strong. The nation is not the same nation that it was 59 years ago with segregation. We currently, as you know, have a black president of the United States. I would have to say that we have come a long way from 59 years ago. Without Martin Luther King Jr., where would we be? Would we be segregated still? Those are questions that need no answer due to King's help during the Civil Rights Movement. The world was left mourning but forever touched by what he did for our nation. The changes made by King created a revolution. Thank you for your time.